Hey Bladers, it's Frost, aka The Competitive Gamer, and I'm back with another Let's Talk Beyblade. Alright, so before we start, if you like these videos, please be sure to like, subscribe, turn on notifications, burst the Beyblade, whatever it is that you guys do. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is sort of reestablish the intent behind this series. So the series is called Let's Talk Beyblade, and I do recall mentioning that I would be focusing on some of the things that we discussed within the organized play team of the WBO. So some further things that I will discuss within this video series is I'll just talk Beyblade in general, give some of my thoughts on maybe some of the product, give my thoughts on the state of Beyblade, maybe talk about some combos, discussions on tournaments, talk with other bladers, so things of that nature, to make it more of a actual let's talk about Beyblade series as opposed to here's what the organized play team is doing. Okay, so let's go ahead and let a combo spin out. So we have Astral Fafnir with the Armor 2, Giga, and Destroy Dash. This is a combo that somebody wanted to see go up against the Gauntlet. So here's a little preview. I'll go ahead and just launch this. And I'll just launch it actually, I'll try to just launch it in the center. Why not? It would help if I had the right launcher. All right, so let's just launch this. All right, so we just had our what is to be monthly organized play team meeting. So for this video, I'll talk about some of the things we discussed in that meeting, as well as go a little bit deeper on one of the topics. And then I'll finish up by sort of responding to some of the comments which I've seen on the video so far. Okay, so some of the things that we discussed in our last organized play meeting, which was on a Sunday, is one, we discussed the watch list that is on the WBO website. So the discussions around that were just essentially just maintaining the watch list, making sure that we are updating it so that you guys do know which parts we are looking at maybe putting a ban or a some type of limitation on. So that was one thing. The next thing we sort of talked about was judges' quizzes. So I know at a lot of tournaments, there are established judges. There are people that the organizer always wants to judge, and those are more than likely established bladers. But what about the tournaments where it consists mostly of newer bladers? So the idea behind the judges quizzes is that it is a very quick quiz. I want to say no more than 5 minutes or a couple minutes that you can just give to someone that you want to be a judge, just to see where their knowledge is and if they're, I guess, capable of judging an event for you. That is my understanding, my personal understanding of the intent behind coming up with judges quizzes. All right, something else that we discussed was the tournament incident report form. Apparently that was not working, so we are getting that fixed so that you guys can submit reports for any incident during tournaments. Something else we discussed was the definition of spinning. So I'll leave a link to the video where I did talk about that definition, as it seems more and more likely that that is the definition or some version of the final definition, which will be put out there at some point in the near future. Okay, the next thing we discussed was the event cancellation, I guess, procedures, or putting something in the organizer's guide that says, hey, if you need to cancel an event, here are some things which you may need to do, or rather situations in which it may be more beneficial to cancel an event than have an event, and we'll leave it at that. The next thing we sort of discussed was changes to the ranked and unranked structure, as well as the club format. So we are looking to make changes to how, not necessarily how events are ranked, but just the structure behind it, and sort of in a way in which the WBO community knows what to expect when they're going into an unranked event, or they know what to expect when they're going into a ranked event, or in what we're sort of looking to redo as a club format. So they sort of have these expectations of every type of event structure. So some things we're looking at with the club format is maybe opening it up to have other match types. So everyone's aware that there are different rule sets that players like to play by, which don't necessarily fit into the WBO's system in general. So that is what we're trying to accommodate with the restructuring of ranked, unranked, and club format. The next thing we discussed was adding new events to the first stage. So last video I was talking about opening up the finals to different match types. So what we discussed in our team meeting was adding more events to the first stage, and I think that's the topic that I'm going to go ahead and sort of delve into just a little bit more. So what we discussed behind adding new match types to the first stage was really just allowing the deck format to be played during the first stage of an event. So personally, deck format is my favorite of the match types, followed closely by pick 3, choose 1, and then 3v3. Granted, I've only done 3v3 once. I've only played it once. So maybe I should play that a little bit more, as I know it does seem to be a little bit more popular than pick 3, choose 1. I'm not quite sure the reasoning behind that. From a strategic standpoint, I definitely favor pick 3, choose 1. So yeah, opening first stage up to have the deck format. What are you guys' thoughts on that? One thing that needs to be considered is the amount of time that it will take to do an event if deck format is played in the first stage. So we did discuss maybe adding recommendations that, hey, your event may be too big, or maybe put limitations on the size of an event where deck format can be used in the first stages. If you're doing a 32 player event or 64 player event or what have you, deck format probably is not the format that you want to be using first stage, unless it is something like some of the older tournaments that I used to go to where events were multi-day. They used to do Magic events like that. I'm not sure if they still do it like that. But anyway, so if you're having an event on, say, all day on a Saturday and then all day on a Sunday, then I can see deck format being used in that. But at just your normal tournament for a couple hours, deck format in the first stage would be very long. Now, one flip side to that is if the final stage is also opened up to using other event types, and then we sort of run into the situation where no time is technically being, I don't want to say wasted, but I'm going to use the word wasted, in that today deck format would already be used in the finals, and maybe pick 3, choose 1 would be used in the first stage. So if you just flip that around, deck format first stage, pick 3, choose 1 in the finals, ideally the time should match up. Granted, I'm sure it probably wouldn't, but yeah, so that was our discussion. And thinking about it now, one thing that would be interesting is deck format all the way through. Deck format first stage, deck format in the finals, or 3v3 all the way through. That would be pretty interesting. All right, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna sort of respond to two of the comments that I did see on a couple of the videos. So the first comment or sort of question was, what are my thoughts on using Hasbro drivers with Takara, Tomy, and vice versa. This is my personal opinion. I really don't care, honestly. If it was up to me, I don't care. You can use the parts that you want. If you break your parts, then you break your parts. The WBO stance, obviously, is that they cannot be mixed. As far as why, it is my understanding that depending on the way you do it, you can mess up the teeth on your layers or just mess up your drivers in general. And I do also understand that, I want to say Hasbro on Takara Tomy doesn't lock as tight. And I'm not 100% sure about this, as I've never tried to mix them. But that is my understanding, and I do believe that the reason the WBO has it the way it does, where you can't mix, is that given that one breaks teeth, it's just a lot more consistent to say, hey, neither can be mixed, as opposed to saying, hey, sure, you can use Takara Tomy on Hasbro, or hey, you can use Hasbro on Takara Tomy, but you can't do it vice versa. It's just a lot more consistent to say, hey, you can't do either. So that is my response to that, and I will bring that up to the organized play team in our next meeting, just to maybe get a better understanding of why, and see if that's something that they would be up to changing in the future. The next thing that I want to respond to is Crisis Crusher. So Crisis Crusher has a lot of good ideas. I do believe I've said this before. If you look on the forum, he makes some very good posts. So one of the comments, or one of the things he asked, was with regards to allowing more than one mode change. So within the WBO, you can only do one mode change, and you can't change spin direction. So he was asking if organized play team has discussed that. We have not actually had a discussion on it. I, however, did see it opened up on our organized play discussion board as a topic for discussion. It just hasn't been discussed yet. So I'm going to bring that up at our next meeting, and I can even go as far to just ask them about it outside of the meeting, just to get the juices flowing on that. So what are my thoughts on allowing infinite mode changes or changes in spin directions? I'm gonna say I'm not in favor of allowing changes in spin directions, as I could be wrong, but I think at that point, what's the point of using other Beyblades if you have a decent combo? Let's go with World. What's the point of using any other Beyblade instead of World 2B Drift or Metal Drift or whatever? When you get to that point, to me at least, there is no point. Granted, Astro isn't the most used Beyblade, but still. There are formats that do allow for mode changes. I haven't played 4Gaming's format, but when I saw the rules, I do believe that he did allow for spin direction change. I think I said mode changes, but I meant changes in spin direction. Now, when it comes to mode changes, there is only one allowed. I think you're all aware of my stance. I've said it a lot of times. I think that if a player buys a Beyblade, or no matter what game you're playing, and if you buy something for that game, you should be able to use it. If it comes to card games, for instance, you buy cards, you should be able to use all the cards you buy. Beyblade, you should be able to make, in my opinion, as many mode changes as you want. Now, that statement definitely goes against what I just said about changing spin direction, but I do think about this from a competitive viewpoint. I don't see too many negatives to allowing infinite mode changes, or at least maybe upping the amount of mode changes from one to maybe 2 mode changes. So hey, you can change your mode to whatever mode you want, and then say you realize that was a mistake, you can go back to it. So I think something like that would be fair, as opposed to having infinite mode changes, and you can just change it based on the Beyblade you're going against. Even with that, I think I'm still for that. If I think about it, I'm still for infinite mode changes. I don't see the problem with switching from low to high mode based on the Beyblade you're going against. I mean, really, that's only going to really come up in deck format and 3v3 on the reshuffle, honestly. And that's just another added tactic, in my opinion. Now, it does give the more experienced players an advantage, but I still think that's fair. All right, so those are my responses to those two questions. Again, if you like these videos, please be sure to like, subscribe, and all of that other good stuff. If you have any questions or comments or just anything in general, leave a comment. Thanks, guys.